The written history of Okinawa is only about 4 centuries old, but Okinawans have lived here for thousands of years. The story of their culture was passed down through ancient traditional songs. At the heart of those songs is a 3-stringed instrument called the sanshin. It was originally made with wood from the local ebony tree and covered in snakeskin. A local group called Okinawa Americana has found a way to fuse traditional Okinawan music with American blues and roots music to create a sound that is completely unique. Megumi Gushi, or Mary, was born and raised in the southern Okinawan city of Inoman. Her grandmother played the sanshin.
She teach me how to play, but I don't know note, score. I can't read, just melody.
Mary has been making music her whole life. She plays multiple instruments and teaches people how to play the sanshin. She became an expert at teaching when she learned how to inspire kindergarten children to play the instrument.
I just make sound fun and singing fun and just a little bit Okinawa traditional. I learning how to get people's attention.
She learned how to recognize the moment kids understand the power and beauty of music.
Kids feeling something. Oh, cool. So I always teach this moment.
Dave Ralston is originally from the state of Indiana, and he first arrived on Okinawa in 1992.
I just came here for vacation. The next thing I know, 30 years, something years later, I'm still here. But yeah, I got here and I had no job. I had no affiliation to the military whatsoever. And I met the only 2 friends I had were these 2 guys knocked at the door. I didn't know what they were trying. Had some religious thing. I didn't know what it was, and it turned out being Mormon guys. And I was like, "Hey, you want to come in and just like hang out and talk?" Like, "For real, we can come in?" I was like, "Hell yeah, come on in." Became friends with those guys. They helped me build this extra thing to my house that I was trying to live in at the time. So yeah, that was the only 2 friends I had. Those guys were, I hope they're good. I didn't find out where they went, but.
Dave's first instrument was the drums, and he spent a lot of time playing at a local club called Tobacco Road.
So I went there and was doing session stuff, just trying to play with whoever I could. And at that time, all these dudes would come in from, you had Marines coming in, you had Air Force guys coming in, and you had these merchant Marine guys that would come in. They played this different music, so I kind of was just always watching them playing guitar as I was back there trying to play drums. It was a great way to learn back then.
He shifted his focus, learned how to play guitar, and got deep into the blues. He put out an album and played club gigs wherever he could. And then he met Delaney Bramlett of the iconic band Delaney and Bonnie and Friends. Delaney had played with world-class musicians like Dwayne and Greg Allman, Eric Clapton, George Harrison, and many more.
Delaney had a set way of doing things, and they all knew exactly what to do. And we went through all the songs, and then he's like, "Okay, now it's time to get to work."
It was the first time that David worked with an accomplished producer, and he was nervous. But Delaney put him at ease by explaining the process.
And then he kind of told me the same thing. I'll tell you all about why I'm doing what I'm doing later. We just don't have time, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever he says. So he gave me a couple things to practice that night. So I'm up all night in his guest house, just going, singing and trying to learn what I'm supposed to do. And so we get through with all the recording stuff, and that's time for me to sing. And so his engineer is in the other room, and they're getting ready to hit the red button. He comes over, puts on headphones, and stands right next to me. We got the lyric sheet up on this thing. I'm sitting there going, and then so he goes, "Just sing this line. We'll go line by line." So I sing the first note. I'll never forget. And I sing this, whatever it is, and he just looks over at me and he goes, and I was like,
Delaney had experienced many ups and downs as a famous musician, and he passed on some of that wisdom to Dave.
He's like, hey, I know how you are. I'm glad you don't drink, and just make sure that if people are giving you stuff, make sure you know what it is, because you're going to be like me, because I know how you are. Once you start, you probably can't stop. And so he was really careful, like telling me don't get involved in that, and really kind of leading me through with a lot of good life lessons on with music business and just with everything.
Dave continues to pass on those lessons. For 30 years, he's worked as a substance abuse counselor for the United States Marine Corps. About 5 years ago, Dave and Mary were asked to meet with incarcerated Marines and sailors.
At that time, there's a lot of guys that were in the brig that were interested in music. And so they said, hey, can you come talk to them about the music business? So I'm like, okay, so we brought our instruments and we just went in there, and man, they had some tough questions, because we've done a lot of stuff, like we've gone to colleges and stuff in the States and up here where with the people that are trying to be pro musicians or whatever, and they're, some of the young folks, they'll say like, do you make a lot of money, or do you get a lot of girls, or do you get free stuff? It's just kind of, but these guys were asking tough questions like, okay, so BMI or an ASCAP, and how does that whole thing work, and all these different things. I was like, man, that's tough questions. They're asking like, how do we write songs, and how do we choose tempos, and how do we, on the choruses, do we bring it up, and these different things. I'm like, man, and I said, these guys got some good questions. And one of the guys goes, we have a lot of time, sir, to think about these things. But that was a really good experience. But so that morphed into, then that same year we went to play for Christmas.
They continue to play shows at the Brig every Christmas. Around 2015, Dave and Mary were recording an album in Nashville, Tennessee, and they had an opportunity to play at a shop where the hit TV show American Pickers was filmed.
It's the antique shop, and back then they would have bands come in, and somehow we got lucky enough to play there. They were just bussing these people, like tourists would come in and they want to go to American Pickers, and so these people just, hundreds of people just kind of walk around shopping as we're playing, and people are just looking at us like, she's wearing this, and I'm playing, and they're just like, what is that? And it was cool. And a bunch of my friends, these old Marine friends and Air Force people were there, and then I saw this old guy that was standing in the corner, and he's really old, and he's kind of like, there's people like kind of blocking off where we were playing, and he
sitting this side.
Yeah, but he pushed his way through, and his family's like, no. And Mary's like, it's okay. And he came and sat down right on the side of where we were playing, and he says, he's just looking. I saw him. He's like pouncing his cane up and down. He had a hat that said World War II veteran. And then when she finished the song, he walks up right up to her, and it was the whole place was dead silence. Like no one knew what to do or like what's happening. He just comes up, grabs her on the thing, and says, I was in Okinawa in 1945. And it was so terrible when I was there, but I'm happy to watch you guys. And man, everybody was just like, all my military friends, like, no one knew what to do, and it was just dead silence. And then he started singing a Japanese song. What was the song?
I don't know that song, but I understand he is singing in Japanese. So, but not Okinawan song. He's singing the Japanese song. So, wow. So, I was not good in English speaker, but I just got meaning. He said 1945, Okinawa. The two words I just understand. He says so.
I mean, the customers are crying and she's crying. I'm trying not to get choked up, and so he just and we just had to take a break, and his family came up and they're just like, he's never talked about Okinawa ever. Like, and his daughter or whoever it was like my parents' age. They were older, and his grandkids and everybody was there, and then the guy that our old friend Rich Mahan, who kind of set this up, he was producing an album for us. He just walked up to us like right then. He's like, dude, that was awesome. He goes, you guys got to change your name to Okinawa Americana, because back then it was just like David and Mary, And that's how how it all happened. And I wish we could find that guy, but as fast as he was there, he was gone.
Mary explains that music has the ability to communicate across all languages and cultures.
Nobody can see, but they can feel.
Musical collaboration between Dave and Mary is seamless and intuitive.
Because I played with people before, and it was just like, okay, I would have to come up with what they were going to do or come up with their parts, and we would try to figure it out. With her, she'll call me or say, hey, let's try this. And that was really the first rehearsal. We came up with Ahabushi. You know, I started playing this old Sun House lick, and then she's like started playing this old, you know, Ahabushi song, which was everybody learns the first song on the Sanshin. She's like, let's put those together.
Dave and Mary say that even when making music goes badly, it's still a good experience.
Like this year, I had big trouble before the show.
A crucial part of her Sanshin was broken.
So here, broke.
Yeah.
So it was 15 minutes before the show. I was, what? Then usually I bring 2 sanshin because big show, but this time I don't know why, I just bring 1 sanshin. So my, what should I do? What should I do? Oh,
so I don't know any of this, right? She's on the other side. This is like one of those, you know, big concert stages like the Who plays on, right? It's the full PA, it's, you know, a lot of people. And then this giant monsoon comes like 5 minutes before we're supposed to go on. It's like raining sideways. You can't even see, like one of those Okinawa things. And then the wind's blowing, and the wind blew on the other side where she was at, and she had her sanshin on this big giant road case, and it hit it, and it just goes smack.
In case maybe somebody did step on my sunshine, I don't know, but yeah, it was wet and broken. But I checked the tuning, it still stay tuned. So then I just tell him, I have a little bit problem, but I try my best. So don't get mad, please.
So, like, that's not what you want to hear, right? Right before you get ready to go on, I'm tuning my guitar up, and she comes up and says, hey.